Hello and welcome to episode 37 of Pacific Horseplayers right here in the HHH Racing Podcast. I am your host, Noah Meagher, joined by Cheese and Ryan Anderson and Jackson, of course, coming to us live from the car as we are here. Opening day is finally among us. It is Friday, July 18th, and we're going to be taking you through the late pick 5 on Friday, July 18th for opening day. So we're going to be talking about that. Of course, we are very excited for that. Before we get into that, we got to go through our peripherals. Of course, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. We've got our regular Power Picks tip sheet, of course, that's very successful. So go ahead and subscribe and check those out. And then you can go check those out and find out more about us at our website right there, HHHRacingPodcast.com. And I mentioned that because I've got this banner up here. Of course, you know about our Saratoga Power Picks and our Saratoga Today live shows that we've done in the mornings on Saturdays and Sundays. We started those last weekend, with Saratoga opening up last weekend, of course. And then we've got the live shows, of course. And then the last thing I want to mention is, of course, the Delmar only Power Picks. There was a video that was released this morning that I did yesterday, just kind of previewing the Delmar meet, talking about stake schedule, ship and win program, and then a little bit more info about how you guys can subscribe to those Power Picks. So I wanted to mention those, of course, because, we do a great job and we're going to supply some great information. I know that for sure. So got to plug that. And I think that's the last thing that we need to take care of before we bring on a special guest that we got. Is I just realized that we do not have a background, and there we go. Had it up at the beginning, didn't get that back on, but we can go ahead and bring on our special guest. He is a seminar host. He's a Pick 4 handicapper. He's actually an author as well. Just a jack of all trades, and I think the most proud thing that we can say, at least for the three young men on the screen, is that he's a very good friend of ours. So let's go ahead and bring him on. He is Frank Scatoni, second time on the show. Frank, how's it going?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks so much for having me on. I could say we're not just handicapping buddies. We're actually friends. So I like it. It's the way to kick off the summer. As you can see, I'm ready. I got my Pem mural all fired up back there. It's the best time of year. It's like Christmas in July.
Frank,
I gotta say, friends don't let friends skip opening day, and the guy above you, Frank, is trying his best to get out of going on Friday. So we gotta change that.
Yeah.
Who are you?
We don't know him. We don't claim him anymore.
I'm a changed man, Frank.
You have a valid excuse? I mean, come on.
No, not at all.
Yes, I do.
What is
You
it?
don't.
Look, ever since they started to cap the attendance, opening day has been a piece of cake. Yes, there are some people where it's amateur hour and it's a crazy party and all things like that, but I think the last several opening days have been very manageable. I used to just go hide up in the press box all day and only come down after the feature race when everybody clears out. But now I do my regular routine. It's like any other day, but with just a significant amount more people, but not unmanageable. So Ryan, I better see you there. That's a challenge.
I work there. You won't miss me for a second. This guy Noah.
Oh, because the pointing was getting me.
Oh, yeah. No, this guy's trying to leave.
Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to get rid of Ryan because, he's going to be there all the time. So
that's what I was thinking. I was like, why you work there now? What are you doing?
Oh, no. I will not miss a second of the entire meet. That's a promise.
Okay. Well, at some point, I hope to see all of you there at the same time in the same place. So that'll be good.
That will for sure happen. Frank, go ahead and give us a little snippet. What are you most excited about starting on Friday, just with the summer meet in general, and maybe give us a little insight to maybe some handicapping angles that you got, or some trainer angles, stuff that you kind of key on to start the meet.
Yeah, I'm just so excited to get back into the mix because if you follow Santa Anita as closely as I do, you find certain horses that you're looking to come back at Del Mar based on their running style. Now, I say that I don't have any specific horses in mind, but I take pretty good notes. I enter them in Formulator. I've got a good platform in optics that I rely on. Also great trip notes there. So the course profiles play very, very differently. So that is something completely to pay attention to. The main track, while Often fair, not always fair. A lot of times it tilts towards the outside, especially in sprint races. So you just have to kind of pay attention to that on the main track. As far as the turf course goes, horses that struggled closing and making up ground at Santa Anita do really, really well here at Del Mar. It's a much more closer-friendly surface. It's very tough to wire the field going a mile on the turf against good horses, even with the rails out. So you look for the horses in the second pack, and even some of the deep closers who can turn the tables where they were just kind of treading their wheels at Santa Anita, which the turf course is a lot more speed friendly. So those are just some course profiles I look for. In terms of what I'm really excited about, Del Mar has introduced three new wagers this meet, actually. They're doing a middle pick 4. So you get busted in the first leg of your early, boom, you come right back. So there's 3 pick 4s to get involved in. They are also introducing a $3 late pick 3 on the last 3 races with a 15% player-friendly takeout, which was a success at Santa Anita. But the one I'm most excited about is the late double. It is now a $5 minimum late double, 15% player-friendly takeout. Again, Santa Anita grew those pools really, really strongly when they introduced it. And my friend Kieran, that you guys know pretty well, we're actually going to, hopefully, it's not official yet, but we're working on it, hopefully do something that will feature an analysis of the late double on every Friday and other perhaps other select days throughout the meet. So that's something I'm really excited about. I love the double in general, and now I love it even more because I feel like it gives guys like us an advantage, where you can just tight hammer a combination, and that 15% takeout really helps us, make some money.
I think it's awesome bringing those bets over from Santa Anita and the success that we've seen. Ryan, Jackson, give a little nugget. What are you guys most excited for starting on Friday?
Race 1. Just let's start the meet. I'm ready. Frank said it. It's Christmas in July. I can't wait. It's the best time of year. Whether it's a Thursday, a Sunday, Pacific Classic Day, Del Mar is the place to be. It's awesome. On the turf, fast and firm all summer. All these other tracks, you got to worry about weather. You gotta handicap for these sloppy surfaces. Not Del Mar. It's fast and firm. Just come bet here. The conditions.
That was about 1 to 9 to come out of Ryan's mouth real early in the show.
Yeah, it was.
Jackson?
I can't wait.
Hey, that's why I moved. That's why I moved away from New York. I couldn't deal with the variables of the weather. I mean, it was just driving me crazy. So horse racing has enough variables to consider, right? So if you can eliminate one of them, like the weather, you're ahead of the game. So sorry, Jackson. Didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're good. I don't have much to add. I'm just super excited for everything. Del Mar's the best. It's the absolute best. Can't wait for the massive fields, the new wagers, all of it.
Let's go to the chat real quick. Katie was here early, of course. Bob Segura is here. Terry is here. Let's see who else. Good buddy Jim Pilars is here. Looking forward to all those Del Mar Power Pick winners. Of course, our good friend. And
Jackson, you're underwater.
Better way of thinking. Matt Miller is here, captain in the Camry. And I think, Jackson started to go a little underwater as he was finishing that sentence. Yeah. And we got our good friend Shane. Shane's here.
Shane had a funnier comment if you scroll up a little bit. Yeah.
Thank goodness the show has got a real handicapper on the screen. Let's go, Frank. Shane's always busting our balls. He loves to do that. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's not waste any more time. I'm going to get the Echo Base up on the screen here first, and I've actually got it prepared this time, so it's now up on the screen right away. Late pick 5 starts in race 6, which is 4:30 Pacific time. Starts with an allowance optional claiming for 80,000. This was quite a doozy. I thought this was a very difficult race to get things started off. It's a mile and 16th on the turf. The rails are at 12 feet for opening day, and we've got a field of 11 with actually the scratch of the 6 Maltese Falcon. Our good buddy Shane gave us some little inside info yesterday. So the 12 Ryquist from the A's list will be drawing in. So we've got a field of 11. We do not have morning lines, and we do not have numbers in the program. So, gentlemen, if you could do your best to maybe refer to those as much as possible, that would be much appreciated. There's the field right there. Let's go to the picks, and I've got them up on the screen right now. For the first leg of the late pick 5, I'm going 1-11-4. Jackson's going 3-10-12. Ryan's going 1-2-10. And Frank going 5-3-1. Frank, of course, we're going to start with you. You're going with the 5. Dandy Man Shines, Barrios, Mullins, and a little preview to your picks. I think if the 5s do well on Friday, you're gonna be doing pretty well as well, my friend.
Yeah, it's the way it lands sometimes. I've always liked this horse. If you've been paying attention to Santa Anita, Jeff Mullins is having a terrific year. And you look at this horse has 2 wins. Both of them came at Del Mar, second and a third as well. I know if you look at the company line, you'll see that a few of these horses have beaten this horse. But this horse needs a little bit of a pace to close into, and I think we'll get that with Genius Jimmy, and there's a stretch-out sprinter in here. I think Sarwar will probably be forwardly placed. I think we'll get an honest pace. What I like most about this horse, though, is if you look, came off the long layoff after Del Mar, really, really strong closing times in paceless races. I'm guessing Mullins probably couldn't find a good 2-turn race at this kind of condition. So runs a horse down the hill off a long layoff, runs really, really well. Then comes back and runs the horse again, sprinting on a main track. Again, comes closing, runs really, really well. I think this is the money run. That being said, so many of these horses are of equal ability. So it's really going to come down to pace and trip because I think you could probably go 5 or 6 deep and, still be a little shaky in terms of getting out of it. But Dandy Man Shines is my top pick. I also think number 3, Mondego, is super, super sneaky. I think Michael McCarthy has completely changed his horse's running style. Back east under Clement, the horse you'd like to be in the mix. Last time, horse came from off the pace, and Michael McCarthy is the best at teaching horses how to finish. I think that horse is super sneaky. Last time came home, final 8th in 11-1. That's racehorse final 8th time. So I expect that horse to run really well. And then I think City Exile for D'Amato has a really, really big shot. My only concern is that this might be a prep for something a little bit longer, because if you look at this horse's victory at Del Mar, it came going 11 furlongs. So that's why I have the horse 3rd in my picks. But, these are all A's for me when playing the pick 5. And like I said, if you guys throw in a couple of more horses, I think it's kind of a spready race. It's really tough.
Yeah, and spready race indeed. You can kind of see by our picks. I'll go to Ryan because he's got the one on top, and I've actually got the one on top as well. Ryan, kind of the reason why I like him is, he's got a chance to be tactical, and he's going to save ground from the rail. I think every bit of ground in a race like this, where these horses are so evenly matched, I think can just end up being just like super quintessential in the end. And obviously you like him too.
Yeah, I do. I love Frank's point, or I respect Frank's point that it might be a setup for something maybe a little bit longer later in the meet. But I think just off the looking at about like 8-9 weeks rest here, coming in should be a little fresher. Maybe that gets this horse a little more forward. I do think a mile is much too short. Or not much too short, but is too short. I think the extra half furlong, especially on the Del Mar turf course, that is, as Frank mentioned, closer friendly or more closer friendly than Santa Anita. I think that's going to set up for him. And again, I really love the post draw. The turf looks fantastic out at Del Mar. No surprise there. But I think City Exile is just going to sit a really nice trip. And you get Juan Hernandez, Phil D'Amato teaming up to start the late pick 5. So as long as the price isn't, too bet down, I don't want to take probably anything less than 7-5 or so. Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, I was going to ask, who do you think the favorite's going to be in this race? I'm looking at this and hang a number on these horses. It's going to be very, very tough.
I think Jackson.
I didn't envy the morning line maker here.
Yeah, I think Jackson is dead set that this horse that we're looking at right now is going to be the morning line favorite.
Okay.
I'm so disappointed, you guys. You guys have been talking all summer, all spring. I can't wait for Del Mar. These giant fields. We're going to pick all these prices. First race of the meet, you guys are both chalking out. I can't believe y'all. It's crazy.
Here we
crazy.
Here we go. We just try and pick winners, brother. Also, worth mentioning, Rispoli is named on mounts.
7-5, Ryan?
Yeah, maybe.
You would take 7-5
on mounts.
7-5.
You would take 7-5 on the horse?
I'm saying I wouldn't take lower than that.
So you would take 8-5.
I would think about it.
I would think 8-5 right now. 8-5 right now.
No, thanks.
I think that horse will be 5-2, 3-1-ish, right? Like tepid, lukewarm favorite, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Should be worth noting. Rispoli's named on mounts at Del Mar on Saturday, and never mind. Scratch what I said. Friday. Ignore all the words out of my mouth. It's been a long day. It's been a long day. Days of the week aren't real.
We're going to turn your mic off and give Jackson the mic.
You should.
Frank talked a little bit about the 3 Mondego. I don't know. Part of me just refuses to believe that he's going to be able to run as short as a mile and 16th. But everything that Frank talked about was right. I mean, I think if you want anyone out of that race, he was closing well, sucking off the layoff. McCarthy obviously has done well all year, and Rispoli actually hops off the 11, who I like a little bit, and goes here from McCarthy. Jackson, a lot of green flags, I think, in my opinion, other than the fact that I don't know if this distance really suits him all that well.
Yeah, I mean, I echo everything Frank said. He ran great last time. That was a complete merry-go-round race. He's the only one who was closing at all, and you saw how fast he finished up in there. And that was his first start in several months, too. So he has the right to move forward. He's got a good post. Rispoli rides his turf course better than anyone. As far as your point on the distance, I disagree a little bit because I know he was running further in New York, but it's not like he was really excelling at those distances necessarily. Like, he was losing ground late in pretty much all of those races going further. And I think this is the one that the distance might hit him right between the eyes, and he's going to get the right kind of trip because he can be closer to the pace than he was last time if they choose to do that. And I think Umberto will have plenty of options with this horse, I think. And obviously he doesn't take a step forward from what happened last time, but he makes a lot of sense in this race, I think, in a race where it is completely wide open, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't love him, but I'm going to use him. As we've kind of already alluded to, this race is very difficult. Let's talk about some others. Let's go to the 10, who I believe is this horse right here, Elwood Blues. Ryan, Jackson, you guys both got him in the mix. Jackson, I'll go back to you because you've got him as high as second. You know, he's run at 6.5. He's run at 6 on the turf, stretches out 2 sprints, 2 around on the turf, and, you know, leave Mark Glad off your tickets at your own will.
Yeah, stretch out sprinter, tough post, but I don't think there's a whole lot of speed outside of Genius Jimmy. So if he wants to get out there and get right behind the horse, I think he probably could. Just watching his replays too, he seems like a horse that is kind of grinding way late on the grass, and I think the stretch out will do him some good. He's got a lot of turf pedigree to go further as well. His mom was a graded stake winner going 2 turns and sibling to a couple, or at least one turf router too. So by Justify, like, he's supposed to like this trip. He's supposed to get better at it. And he should be a price in here, I would think. I don't think he's going to get overbet in this race. I think he'll be at least 6 or 7 to 1, I would imagine.
Yeah. Wasn't there an Archmare that had a winner on the in the first leg of the Pick 5 last week for Saratoga opening day, Jackson? If I remember that correctly, wasn't it the 10 horse? Somebody on the screen had that horse. I can't remember who it was.
I don't remember.
What a pull going to the Grand Sire. Oh.
Listen, I know that was your only winner over like $4 this entire year, so you go ahead.
Whatever.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, we'll give you your flowers for that one.
Ryan, you got anything to add of this runner?
No, Jackson nailed it. Yeah, I'm surprised it's taken this long for Elwood Blues to stretch around 2 turns, considering the breeding, obviously by Justify, like Jackson mentioned. I hope Loscano is either really aggressive and tries to get to the lead or sits, behind Genius Jimmy. You don't want to have that too wide tracking trip at Del Mar because you will never win with that kind of ride. So I hope he's either decisive, tries to get to the lead, or sits behind Genius Jimmy and kind of tracks the pace.
I've got the horse to his outside, Ion Ryan second. I was kind of texting the boys a little bit last night. I think I would go with him, if he wasn't parked out so wide, which maybe obviously he's not going to be as wide with one scratch, but it's not going to be, it's not going to help him out all that much. You would need a couple more scratches to maybe not be worried about the post. But that's concern number 1. And concern number 2 is the jockey that's on him. I know Mike Smith is obviously a Hall of Famer, but he's certainly not as good as he used to be. I thought he ran some bang up races. He was favored last out in another merry-go-round race where Genius Jimmy just kind of walked the dog, and then 2 back he was wider than wide. I thought he ran better than anyone in that race, and he was only a neck behind City Exile, who I like. If the posts were switched, I would definitely like Ion Rye more. But I think he's a must use on a Pick 5 ticket. We've talked about the 10 and the 11. Jackson, I know you have the 12. Maybe we'll throw it to Frank to maybe talk about those 3 outside runners, and then Jackson, you can wrap up. But Frank, you got any comments on some of the horses that we've mentioned?
Yeah, Marklock's one of my favorite trainers. I've done remarkable. Hello? Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm sorry, were you asking me or Ryan? I'm sorry.
No, you.
I was going to say, Mark Lott's one of my favorite trainers. I do remarkably well with him. For some reason, he's just one of those guys I'm like in lockstep with. We're simpatico. I love when he stretches out a horse, but this wasn't particularly for me. I was concerned. I don't know if he's good enough first time to wire this field. And secondly, like I think Ryan said, if he tries to track off Genius Jimmy or whoever else might want to be up in the vanguard, he's looking at the kiss of death trip on the Delmar turf course. So I was against the Elwood Blues. Iron Rye I'm absolutely using, but I'm using as a B for everything Noah said based on the post position. If you go back and look at this horse's victory at Del Mar last summer on September 7th, the horse, he ran a hole in the wind at 27-1, just absolutely crushed from the 12 hole. Granted, that was going a mile, but still, again, favored twice at this level in the last 3 times. The horse absolutely fits. Ron Ellis doesn't have a lot of stock anymore, but dude is still one of the best trainers out here, especially with turf horses. I expect this horse to run really well. My concern is pace, trip, jockey, but that's why I have him as a B contender. But I'm absolutely with you on the 11, Noah, and then the 10. I wrote the numbers in. I'm a little confused with the numbers because I don't have the programs.
Yeah,
I was talking about Ion Rye.
He's 11.
Who is what the 11th horse, right?
Yeah.
So then the 12 Reaquist. I've always liked this horse. I've bet this horse many times. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with him. I don't know. I just think off the layoff and the post, again, likes to stalk. Not going to get the right trip for me. So I wasn't interested in using that horse. But would it shock me if he won? Absolutely not.
Wouldn't shock me if my boy Ayuso got things kicked off in the late pick 5. Jackson, you've got him in the 3rd. I'm really ashamed that Doug O'Neill had to scratch Maltese Falcon because a couple weeks ago we had Doug on the show. And I was like, you use all these Italian jockeys, but what about thinking switching over to using Armando Ayuso? And he's like, you know what? Maybe I'll consider that. I don't know if he just actually was going to consider it or just, said it really nicely to get me to shut up. But either way, I got very excited when I saw Ayuso on one of his runners. And then we got a text from Shane yesterday that said that he was going to be scratching. And I'm definitely not over that. So I'm a little bitter about that. But while I recover, Jackson, talk about the 12.
Well, first of all, I think Frank brought up a really good point about the layoff, just layoffs in general at Del Mar. I treat layoffs differently. I treat layoffs very differently at Del Mar than I do at Santa Anita. I don't think the layoffs matter nearly as much because everyone is targeting this meet. They're coming here to win. They're not coming here to get a start into them, get another start into them, and then we'll get ready for the fall meet at Santa Anita. No, they're coming here to win at the Del Mar meet. I would fully expect majority of these horses to be fully cranked up. And it's, in the year 2025, we see horses win out the layoffs all the time. They come off the bench to win grade 1 races. It's just how it is nowadays. So the layoff isn't a concern for me as much as the post would be from that outside post. But with the layoff, with the post, I think he's going to be a horse that's forgotten about. And he had a lot of trouble in his last few starts. And you can make a case he's a lot more classier than a lot of the horses in this field. He's been facing good groups. So I'd give him a shot from the outside at a price.
And he might have to use a little bit from the outside, maybe heat things up a little bit more. I know we talked about the 10 being part of the pace. I think they've got to send with Genius Jimmy. I heard on the radio, listen to AM 830, they were talking to Matt Nakatani and his agent for Kazushi Kimura, who I know Jackson's very fond of. They were saying that they really like Genius Jimmy going in, and Kimura's very excited to run him here on Friday. I have to believe that they got to be going, right, Frank? I mean, they tried to sit last time.
That's how I saw it.
Yeah.
This horse's best races come on or near the lead. So I expect him to go from the gun. Again, though, the concern for me is the stretch out sprinter and Elwood Blues on the outside, who's going to be pressing me a little bit. And some of the other ones have tactical speed. You wouldn't necessarily consider them, up in the vanguard types, but I don't think they'll let those two get too far away, especially City Exile from the rail. He has tactical speed. Sarwar has tactical speed. It's just, if this were Santa Anita, I would say Genius Jimmy to the hoop. You know what I mean? But here at Del Mar, I'm gonna bet on this horse getting run down. More of an underneath exacta trifecta type for me. But again, like we talked about so many horses in here, would it shock me if this horse won? Absolutely not. Got a big shot. Will probably be one of the lower price horses in the field, I would imagine.
Probably vying for favoritism with the 1 if I had to guess. I feel like he's probably going to take some money for sure. We'll move on to the next race. I'm going 111.4. Jackson's going 310.12. Ryan's going 1310, and Frank is going 531. The next race, is up on the screen now, and that is race 7. It's a maiden special weight, $100,000 purse, which, you know, we love to see. And I think they announced that quite a while ago that they're going to bump up those purses for these maiden special weight races. And got a big salty group of 2-year-old fillies, got a field of 10 in the body of the field. And then we've got 4 AEs. We have 2 Bondi runners with the 11 and the 12. And then you've got the 13 and 14 to round out your group of AEs. But again, 10 in the body of the field. Of course, we do not have morning lines. I think you could go various number of ways in here. And let's see who we are going with. I'm going 8-5-4. Jackson's going 5-8-6. Ryan's going 3-4-8. And Frank is going 5-8-4. Jackson and Frank very similar in this race. So I'm going to give Jackson the chance to talk first. He's going with the 5 Drew liner for Kyle Frey and Craig Lewis. Jackson?
Yeah, I felt like this is the horse that you won in this spot. I think the 8 is probably going to be the favorite. She's the one to beat in here. But the 5, I liked what I saw on debut. She didn't break at all in that race for Craig Lewis, who usually gives his horses a start. And she didn't break at all. It seemed like it was a decent group. She was flying late. I know she was beating 5 lengths in that spot, but she was making up a ton of ground. She was finishing up really nicely and looked like just a horse that really needed to start, would improve off of that. And if she was able to overcome her gait issues, I think she'll be pretty tough in here. And I watched her last 2 workouts. She broke very, very sharply out of the gate. So I think we'll see a better gate break from her. I think she'll be much more forwardly placed, but she's going to need to be right in these quick sprints. And again, I think with Craig Lewis horses, he's one that he usually gives him a start, and he targets the Delmar meet rather than race at Santa Anita. So I just like the way she finished up last time. I think she's a very strong play for me in here, and this wasn't a very deep race. I thought it was her, or I thought it was the 8, and I thought everyone else probably went for 7.
Frank, obviously you got her on top, so I'll let you talk. The one slight worry for me was I'm not sure how great that field was last time. I know, you know, Tammy Baby's probably going to be a somewhat middling price in here. Final Table's got some experience. Maybe she'll take some money as well. I don't know. It just kind of seemed like those 2 maybe weren't running all that well late. But I'll tell you what, the 5 was flying late. And if she does that again, she's certainly got a shot.
Yeah.
My big concern with – oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, my big concern actually is the price of this horse. International trip horse, right? I mean, anyone with 2 eyes saw what happened last race and what she did. I typically like to try and bet against these horses because everyone will gravitate toward them. And, you know, sometimes with these maidens, a slow start isn't the worst thing in the world because you have a lot of cheap speed that just goes out and quits. And this one, you know, a lot of them just clunk up and get a placing. But I thought this one ran particularly well that day. I liked what I saw. And to Jackson's point, Craig Lewis rarely wins first out. That was an educational run. And, man, did she get a lot out of it. She galloped out strongly as well. And, you know, second-time starter for Craig Lewis, you know, automatic. I mean, got to use that horse. Again, I'm a little concerned about the price. I typically like to take second-time starters over first-time starters unless something really puts me on a firster, just because I do believe as a 2-year-old, you know, unless it's a Baffert, that experience run really, really means a lot. And you don't know until you run under, you know, race conditions. So Drew Liner's number 1. And again, I'm going with another horse who has experience, Cara Rose. This horse is more bred for turf. And she ran really well on turf against Open Company last time, finishing 3rd, and took some money, you know, was 7-2. Showed some speed against better horses. Now moving back to dirt. This horse ran really well in the dirt debut. Came from way off the pace, closed like a freight train. Miati's the kind of guy who races his horses into shape. You know, his workouts are typically slow and stamina building. I think Cara Rose has a huge shot today. Those are my top choices. And I'm a little on the fence about some of the firsters, but I think Mustang Nikki is very interesting. Last year, her half-sister won her debut at Churchill Downs in very game fashion, put up a good time, ran like a 77 buyer as a 2-year-old. So there's some pedigree there, and Knapp and Pereira do terrific work together. And then I don't have to get into the details, but I thought I gave looks to the 6 and the 2 other first-time starters. Miller's been ice cold. He's bound to heat up at Del Mar. He gets Hernandez to ride a blame Calbred, cost $60,000 earlier in the year. So that horse probably has some ability. And then I always pay attention to Brian Corner's 2-year-olds, especially during Del Mar, especially when they're owned by Rusty Brown. So this is a wide open race just because of the variables. But if I'm going to war, I go to war with the 5 and the 8.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned blaming on Abby because I know Peter Miller was pretty cold definitely during the Santa Anita spring meet, but I think when I looked it up, he's like 27% over the last month, which, obviously the majority of that was at Los Al, but,
Right.
His horses have been running and, maybe he's just getting hot at the right time. You also talked about the 2 Kiss Me Coco, Brian Corner. You got to watch out for his firsters as well. My boy Ayuso's on there. And then to her outside, the 3, who is Ryan's top pick, who we actually don't have anywhere, but Ryan, you've got on top. Obviously has some speed, hasn't really shown to hold that speed, but you're just kind of hoping maybe speed to the speed and can maybe hold on against maybe a lesser group.
Yeah, definitely hoping the speed of the speed. And I think that's certainly, this horse is one way to go. Ruben Silvera in from New York. He did some excellent riding out there, and he was really aggressive, got a lot of his mounts to the lead. But what really attracted me to this horse was Jorge Parabon's really good with his 2-year-olds. His first-time starters is only about 9%. Second-time starters, he's 13%. Third-time starters, he's 30%. So he really races them into some good form. This horse has improved in her 2 career starts. And I think, again, we've seen Del Mar kind of favor speed a little bit earlier. I don't want to bank on that completely, but I know speed is really good for these 2-year-olds. I know experience goes a long way. So Final Table Lady, checked all the boxes for me, so to speak. So I want to see if this one can take just another little bit of a step up. I think if she can improve 4 buyer speed figures, I think a 60 is pretty much what it's going to take to win this race. And yeah, again, I think she has that ability. She's dueled in her first 2, so I'm hoping she just gets clear through the first quarter, maybe gets just a little bit of a breather, and is able to use that foundation from her previous 2 races to finish things off this time.
I think in a weird way, the filly to her inside Kiss Me Coco might be the key to the race, just whether she, makes the 3 work or if the 3 is able to kind of get over and take a commanding lead within the first, furlong and a half and go into the far turn. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with those 2 early on. Jackson, I'll kind of give you the last laugh. You didn't really get to talk about the 6, but you've got her in 3rd. You also like the 8 as well a little bit. So maybe touch on those 2 and anyone else you want to touch on here in this race.
Yeah, well, the Miller horse is just a question mark. Like, you can't watch any of her workouts because she's obviously working at San Luis Rey Downs, but they paid a lot of money for this Calbred. And Miller this is what he does. He's done this 3 or 4 years in a row now where all Santa Anita long, he's just kind of chilly. And then the last couple weeks and then to Los Al, he heats up and the Del Mar does his thing, as always. So won't be surprised if his horse can run. JJ is obviously riding here, which is another good sign for him. And then, I'd say watch the board in this race for sure on the number 6. So it'll give you a lot of clues. And then the 8, I think it's just a way the horse to be coming out of a really, really strong mating group. It would have looked like it was a lot of horses to come out there to do well. And the horse that this horse lost to, or the winner of the last race lost to, was the Doug O'Neill horse. So it seems like she's the class.
You are underwater, sir.
I'll finish it off for him. This was a hell of a race. I think there are some very good 2-year-olds in this 5 furlong turf race, and Frank's absolutely right. Caravaggio filly out of a Ghost Sapper mare. She's kind of bred for turf, but I have a feeling that the class is going to maybe kind of carry her in this field. She's kind of got tactical speed, and if the 2 and 3 duke it out, she can maybe kind of sit right off of them, get the first jump on others. So I think she's going to be one that you're going to have to use. I see you're shaking your head, Frank. Obviously you agree.
Yeah, I totally agree. They ran 2 races in that division on that day. It was a split of race 1, and this race was faster by 0.56 seconds. So that was a quality race, and again, it was against open company. So coming back in amongst her friends, and that first dirt race was not bad at all. I think she's going to be very tough.
Yeah, I do too. Let's move on to the next race. I'm going 8-5-4. Jackson's going 5-8-6. Ryan's going 3-4-8, and Frank is going 5-8-4. Next race is actually the feature on the card, and I'll get that up on the screen now. It is right there up on the screen is the Caesars Sportsbook Oceanside Stakes. It is a mile on the turf, $100,000 purse, and we've got a field of 3-year-old colts, geldings, and ridgelings this year. We've got 10 in the body of the field. Morning line favorite, I would be quite surprised if it didn't go to the 3 Ironman Cal for Fresu. and Phil D'Amato. Let's see if we are going with him or trying to beat him. Myself and Jackson are chalking out. Ryan's going with the 7 Game Warrior. And Frank, another 5. He's going with the 5 Artislas, Hernandez, and Mullen. So I'm going to go back to you, Frank. Artislas, I believe, was the winner of the juvenile turf at the end of the summer last year. And obviously, looking at his form, he's had plenty of success over the Seaside Oval.
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't even realize that when I sent you my picks that, like you said earlier in the show, the 5s do well. I'll have a pretty good day.
Yeah.
I really thought this was a 2-horse race. I wanted to try and be clever and find some other interesting horses, but I think these are the 2 best horses. I put the 5 Artislas on top just because I think he'll be a better price. Comes off a freshening, gets, in my opinion, a significant jock upgrade for the race. Loves Del Mar. Last year, he was right there with Ironman Cal. So if you just look at all these horses' wins, they're really, really good. And even if you look at the defeats, I can make excuses for all three of the horses' defeats. You could say 4. He got DQ'd from one of them, but he did cross the wire first. But yeah, there are definite excuses to be made for this horse in the races that this horse lost. And like I said, was right there in the Zuma Beach with Ironman Cal, who will, I think, take a lot of money. I think this horse is going to be a pretty significant favorite. It's a little red feather horse. Ran an incredible race here last year in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, lost a heartbreaker, came back off a layoff, shipped to Churchill Downs, American Turf. I mean, that is a very, very hard. It's a grade 1 on Derby Day, or at least Derby weekend. I think it's Derby Day. But really, really good race. A couple of horses came out to win their next races. I actually didn't like Ironman Cal that day. He went off. He took some money. Went off at 9-2. I was against him. He ran okay. I think he was overmatched and outclassed in that race, even though he had finished second the year before in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Now it's go time. I mean, Little Red Feather, they point their good horses to win stakes races here at Del Mar. They've won the Oceanside. Gosh, I should have gone back and looked, but I know they've won it the last few times in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, whatever it is. I can't remember some of the horses, but they do really well in this race. D'Amato points to this race. Horse is tactical. Should sit a good trip. I think it's all about the 5 and the 3 in here. Just again, like I said, I put the 5 on top. I think Ironman Cal is probably going to be 6-5 in here.
Yeah, I know Conclude was one of them. I think.
Yes, that's
correctly
right.
Off the top of my head.
Yeah,
he came back and won the mile last year at the end of the meet. I do remember that because I actually liked him a little bit that day. Ryan, I'm going to throw it to you because you've got him in second. Is it more of a price thing? Do you have a knock on him, or what's the kind of end-all be-all for you?
Yeah, more of a price thing. He's a well-deserving favorite. He has faced horses that could lap this field, and I think Ironman Cal is supremely talented. I'm trying to get a little bit creative to try and beat him, but definitely the most. I would say probably the most likely winner in the sequence, but probably going to be really a really short price. And I think the 7 Game Warrior is going to sit a very similar trip to him, so that's kind of why I leaned with the 7. And I love myself some Hector Barrios at Del Mar.
Jackson, you got anything more clever before we let Brian talk about Game Warrior?
More clever? No.
I should have known the answer to that question. Game Warrior, Ryan, you've got him on top. Blinkers on for hoping to be a red-hot Peter Miller barn. Hector Barrios hops aboard. He was favored in that race. I know Day and Age is coming out of there. I believe the 4 Lyle the Crocodile is coming out of that race as well. So he was closing well, and you're hoping that he can kind of do that again and maybe at a price.
Yeah, the blinkers off experiment, I think, just showed nothing. So they go back on for the stakes try. I don't really look too much into that. He's going to have to take maybe a tiny step up on speed figures here, but Hector should have this one placed in a good spot early. And this is one of those horses that Frank mentioned at the top of the show where, horses that kind of have trouble finishing the job closing at Santa Anita. Those are the horses that I want right back at Del Mar. Peter Miller, obviously, is one of those trainers with a lot of owners that point for the Del Mar meet, as most of the entries do. But you get a jockey like Hector Barrios who rides the turf course extremely well. I expect Game Warrior to be in a really nice position. Maybe the blinkers even have him a little bit sharper, although he hasn't really shown too much tactical speed. But I think there is going to be enough pace where he'll get a fair run at it. And I hope maybe he just kind of gets the jump on Ironman Cal, and maybe that's the difference. I don't anticipate it being a wide margin of victory if Game Warrior were to get it done. I think Ironman Cal is the goods, but I wanted to get a little creative and choose this horse on top.
Frank, I've got an interesting question in the chat from Matt McJunkin. He says, is Lyle the Crocodile a pace setter for Ironman Cal? What are your thoughts on that?
That's a really good question, because I wanted to really like Lyle the Crocodile. And I was thinking, because I have a note here, hard to handle, uncontrollable, broke from the rail, was ranked, didn't like any part of it, went to the lead, ran actually a very, very good race, tired and finished 4th. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, now the horse is drawn outside. Is this horse rateable? And then you go back and look at his trouble lines from overseas, and it's alternated for the lead, led early, on pace, in touch. The horse has a lot of speed. But, Rispoli, if there's one guy who can get a horse to settle and relax, it's Rispoli. And this horse has some ability. So I wouldn't necessarily say the horse is a rabbit for Ironman Cal, because I don't think Ironman Cal really needs one. I think he's tactical enough and finishes strongly enough that he doesn't really need a pace setter. He's not a deep closer, in my opinion. But tag team tactics are always something to consider, especially in a stakes race like this. But I'm glad you mentioned Lyle the Crocodile, because I think I put him as my 3rd pick only because I'm so confused by the horse. I think the horse has more ability than that last race shows. And if Rispoli can get the horse to settle, it would not shock me if that horse ran a big race.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I've got him in 3rd simply because I think if you beat Ironman Cal, I think you got to be ahead of him. I don't think anyone really is going to outclose Ironman Cal, at least in my opinion. So that's why I've got him in 3rd, and kind of the direction I'm looking at in terms of maybe trying to beat him. Jackson, you've got the 8 Day and Age, who has not done anything wrong since he went onto the turf, and it took him a while to do that. I feel like Mandela always kind of thought highly. I mean, look at some of the races that he was in. He ran 2nd on debut, and then ran in the race against Journalism, Goal Oriented, Train the Trainer. I think just came back and won the New York Derby at Finger Lake?
Finger Lake Derby or New York?
I think it's the New York Derby.
Something like that.
But that was a really good race. And then on the turf, like I said, really done nothing wrong. You've got him in 2nd, and give us an idea of is he an upset chance or just primarily underneath?
For me, he's just underneath. Honestly, Frank mentioned the 3 might be 6-5. If the 3 is 6-5 in here, I will be making one bet on Friday, and it'll just be to win on that horse, because I think he should be 1-5, 2-5 against this group. I just think he's way better than what he's facing today. Day and Age, though, he's done nothing wrong on the grass. Last time, what was most impressive was he got the lead, and then Lyle the Crocodile took off, and he was more than happy to kind of just, he didn't go after him. He just was, okay, we'll take back and we'll rate, and then he was able to re-rally again and get the job done. Looked good doing it. The problem is he's just too slow. He has to take another step forward. He's got an outside post. There is other speed in here. He's going to have to improve a lot more with less ideal circumstances. But I do think he's got a shot in here. I'm just a little worried about what kind of price he's going to be.
Are you sure you don't want 7-5 on the 1 in the first leg?
Me?
Yeah.
No, the 1. We can go back to that race. That horse does not want to go mile 16th at all. Like, that horse wants nothing to do with the 1-2 turn. Run as far as possible.
Friday's going to be a fun day.
I can't wait.
It's going to be fantastic, as I like to say.
Can we go back to Ironman Cal for a second? Did you say you think he should be 1-5 in this group? Artistas beat the horse twice.
He ran, but that was before the Breeders' Cup when he ran huge that day.
He did.
Look who he ran against. Henry Matisse, if it wasn't for Field of Gold, would be one of the best horses in the world at this point. The other horse I got 3rd, I don't know what his name is, but he ran huge too. And those 2 horses came from dead last. He was way closer to the pace than those 2 horses were. That was just such a better field than what he's facing today. This is a restricted stakes race that has restricted the horses that have not won a stakes race in their entire careers. And I don't know, that was a huge race. American Turf, he ran well too. They've been very adamant that he was kind of spinning his wheels on that wet grass. He didn't like it. He wants this turf course, and he still ran perfectly fine. He ran great. The 108 time for him in that race is still 5 points faster than anything else anyone has run in here, and he has more right to improve than anyone else in this race does too. He's tactical. He's got an inside post. I just think there's so many things pointing his direction. If he shows up, he's going to win this.
I agree. He's the most likely winner, but I think 1-5 is a little exuberant. That's all I'm saying.
I wouldn't bet him at 1-5. I just think I think he should be 1-5.
Okay.
Did I hear you correctly? Did you say he ran great in that American Turf?
compared to what it's going to take to win this, yes. And considering he didn't like the turf course, yes. And look who we ran against that day. All those horses would be.
Well, it's test course, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's not my point, though. This is such a softer group. I mean, this is night and day difference.
It is.
All right.
What if the Delmar Derby is the target? Maybe this is just a prep race.
Nah, a little bit further. I remember Billy in an interview one time said he loves winning the Oceanside. Like, that's his favorite race to win.
No, I know. I looked it up. Balnikoff won in 2022, Conclude won in 2023. So, yeah, he does love it because it's on opening day, right? It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Last horse I want to touch on is actually the horse I have in second, and I'm actually very interested in. That's a number 6, Kale's Angel, who was on the turf very early in his career and hasn't been on it for a while, but he's got some really good races that he's run. I mean, look at the Oaklawn race. Got a 93 buyer, 111 time form, and even the Animal Kingdom. I know Jackson was keying into the Turfway meet. I thought that was a pretty good race out of him. Just kind of set off of a hot pace and powered away. If that Turfway synthetic kind of plays anything to turf, I think that's going to be a huge number. He's getting back on the turf. He's got the one win here at Del Mar, and the one race that he ran against some similar in the Grade 3 Zuma Beach, he was running really well that day. I just think he's maybe a different horse now, maybe a little more tactical. I think he can kind of sit right off Lyle the Crocodile and maybe get first jump. But I know, Frank, you mentioned it, that too wide stalking trip is maybe not the greatest thing, but I think he's got some talent. I think he can surprise at a huge number. I wouldn't discount him by any means.
Yeah, the 2 wide stalking trip is it's better than the 3 wide stalking trip, but it's still a little tough. Yeah, I mean, this horse, was multiple stakes winner. I mean, granted, on a different circuit and different surface, but you win a stakes race anywhere, you've got some quality to you. So, and to your point, if you go back, this horse did handle turf here at Del Mar last fall. I'm just not sure he'll be good enough in this spot to beat the top 2, but he'll be a huge price, and he's got your jock. And I want to give you some credit, Noah, because I forget what show it was or whatever, but you called out Ayuso and you said that this guy is one of the best turf jockeys in the colony and nobody knows about it. And I liked him when following him up at Golden Gate. I thought he was still a little bit behind the best, the Barrios and the Rispoli and the Freysius, etc. But I started to watch him a lot more closely since you said that. And you are 100% right. This kid has really, really come into his own. He's smart. He's tactical. He knows how to finish. I'm really excited to see how he does this meet. And what he did coming from Golden Gate, like, that is not an easy thing to do. And he did it pretty quickly. I mean, we saw Juan Hernandez do it. Years ago, we saw Rosario do it. I'm dating myself here. So there have been others in the past. Kyle Frey, yeah. But I think Ayuso could absolutely be a top 3 rider moving forward. So I just wanted to give you a little hat tip because you sniffed him out way before I did. I'll tell you that.
I'm going to let Ryan and Jackson have any comments about that. You guys hear that?
I don't like when you're right about shit. Yeah, no, that was good. I don't like when you're right, so I'll go ahead and sit this one out.
I love
that was a good pick. You saw him early, and you got to bet him more though, because the amount of times he wins, and then we texted the group chat, Noah, you must have just paid off a mortgage, and you're like, oh no, I didn't bet it.
Yeah, because over the spring he would be on like 10 to 12 to 1 shots the first couple of races at Santa Anita. I'm not paying attention, and this guy wins at big prices. That's my own wrong.
I forgot your chalk eater. My bad.
Yeah. If it's not under 3 to 1, Noah doesn't want him.
Jeez. We're moving on to the next race.
It's a tough crowd here. I like it.
Yeah.
You did.
Frank, I get a lot of crap on the show, and I take it pretty well. Behind the scenes, I don't let them get away with that stuff. But,
well, you have to be a gracious host, I understand.
I do, yeah.
But no, I do remember that conversation because you nailed it. And guys, credit where credit's due. Let's go.
Yeah. No doubt.
Very, very good. Move on to the next race, race 9. I'll get that up on the screen now. Race 9 is an allowance option claiming $20,000. I believe it's for Calbreds. Purse of $81,000. We're going 6 furlongs on the main track. And there's the body of the field right there. We've got 11 in the field. Morning line favoritism. Another one where I wish I'm quite glad that I'm not the morning line maker, especially for some of these races on opening day. Let's get our picks up on the screen. I'm going 8-2-4. Jackson's going 2-1-5. Ryan's going 7-8-4, and Frank is going 4-1-8. Ryan, I don't think you've gone first, so I'm going to let you kick us off with the 7 case hit 3-year-old who we haven't seen for a while for Rispoli and another Peter Miller runner.
Yeah, this one's coming in off quite the layoff. Didn't run since last summer in the graduation stakes. Finished second to R. Heisman. Coming in here, but the work pattern looks really strong. Really consistent up at San Luis Rey, which of course is a good sign. And then fired that really strong bullet July 11th at San Luis Rey before heading down here for opening day. So Peter Miller obviously points to this meet. You can see the silks are going to be that hot pink of Gary Barber. And again, this appears to be just one of those horses where if this gelding just takes a step forward from that 2 to 3 year old season, going to need to fire fresh, but should show some outside speed. And we all know that can be dangerous, early on in the meet in these dirt sprints at Del Mar. And in addition to that, again, just a step forward into his 3 year old season, I think makes him a really big threat. And I don't think he'll be the favorite or really, I hope he's live on the board. I don't want to see him at, 10-1 or something, but I would take like a middling price on this horse. I think would be very fair around the, 5-6-1 range. I think would show that this horse is taking some money.
Yeah, and obviously he's a little slow compared to some of these other runners, but I mean, he's got a 63 and a 72 the summer of his 2-year-old season. So, I mean, that's pretty respectable. I mean, you haven't seen him since then. If Jackson's right about, these trainers pointing to Del Mar and maybe some of these horses not necessarily needing a start. I think if the board's there and the money is going towards him, I think you better pay attention for sure. Frank, you've got the 4 on top, who I believe is the GM. I think I like him a little bit. Yeah, I got him in third. Another one that's lightly raced. He is a 4-year-old, but second off the bench for Pipey, who again can get streaky, and when he gets hot, he's hot.
Yeah, that's a big move for me. Even late in the year. I mean, I know we're in mid-July. Lightly raced 4-year-olds who have shown some ability going against 3-year-olds is still a big angle for me. So it's no surprise that my top 2 choices are 4-year-olds. I just think the GM's sitting on a big race. It looks obvious to me. He finally gets to string races together. He had a useful tune-up last time. He finished second despite not having an optimal trip. I know he was even money that day. You never like to see a horse lose at even money, especially in a 5-horse field. But I don't think he was fully cranked. I really don't. I think this has been the target. A win on opening day. You got Pipey, you got Hernandez, you got a lightly raced 4-year-old who has, finished third, first, and second. The horse has never done anything wrong. Should sit a very good trip, stalking in the Vanguard. That's my top pick, the GM. And then I'd really, really like No More Ding Dongs a lot more if he was off the rail. Mm-hmm. Made a mess of it last time, breaking from the rail. But he looks very similar to the GM to me. Lightly raced 4-year-old. Came off a layoff, ran a really, really good second in a race where, like I said, he had trouble from the rail and probably wasn't in it to win it. It was 10-1 in that race. I think that horse is going to move forward big time. And, the horse's 1 win came at Del Mar. It's got more tactical speed than he's shown because he had a bad break last time. Again, I really wish he was run outside, but I expect this horse to run a much better race today. So I was about those 2. And then, I could go, 4 or 5 deep on the B line. Also, using Ryan's horse, make a very good case. If he can build out that 72 as a juvenile speed figure, it's going to be tough, especially with that speed drawn outside. So I thought this was a really, really challenging race, but I decided to go with, my tried and true method of the lightly raced 4-year-old against 3-year-olds, even this late in the year.
Yeah, and I certainly hear you on the one. I think the rail sprinting on the main track is a bit of a death sentence, especially early in the meet. Obviously, inside's not great, but if he can work out a trip from there, I think he's got as good a shot as anyone. I want to go back to the 4 because I was really on the fence with him. I saw everything you saw. His last race, he was an even money favorite, and he got a pretty good trip, and really wasn't all that close to Mining District that day. Now I know he was out the layoff. He really wasn't cranked, but it was a 5-horse field, and he was kind of supposed to get the job done in that race. So I've got mixed feelings. Certainly, he can win. I'd be a little reluctant to maybe take a short price on him, but I think there are certainly some green flags. And one of them is definitely Juan Hernandez sticking aboard here for this lightly raced 4-year-old. Let's go to the 2, Pass the Baton. I'm interested in him as well. I think he's going to be a bit of a price. And Jackson, you're hoping he's a price because you've got him on top as well. Cutting back, a lot of races at a mile, off the layoff for Bill McLean, and again, cutting back to 6 on Friday.
Yeah, when they announced like they're gonna have the $5 late double, $3 pick 3, like this was the kind of race I was looking for the Del Mar for these sequences. There's just 11 horses. It's completely impossible. They all run the exact same numbers. Like, good luck. I think it's a race where you don't want to take any kind of short price because they all look pretty similar on paper, and I think this is one that's going to be one of the bigger prices of the field because he's been running 2 turns. He hasn't really been winning too often, and he's drawn on the inside. He's coming off the pace. I think he's an interesting horse because you're looking at his numbers, and they're really right there with everyone else. The time form numbers and the buyer both put him right there. You look at his dirt races, he's kind of running up and backing up late, running into contention, backing up late. I think this cutback could do him some good. And just to add to your point about the rail, historically the rail has not been good at Del Mar, but I will say last year was the first year in a long time it didn't seem like it was a disadvantage. So I'm kind of curious to see how that plays out again this meet, if that continues or if it goes back to outside dominating. So for now, I wouldn't consider it to be too big of an issue until I see otherwise. But I think at a big price, he's worth looking at.
Yeah, it's a watch and see for sure. Let's go to the 8. Ryan, I'm going to throw it to you because you've got him in second. He's the one that's outside of your top choice. Let me in. I've got him on top. Thought he's run some decent races in terms of figures. I mean, he's right there with anyone. Just for me, I think it's really hard to see him not getting a good trip. Coming in from 50 or optional 50 down to optional 20, I think is a huge plus. The one worry with him, as you can see in the lifetime starts, he doesn't really love to win all that often. I know his one win, he won by 12, but that was Maiden 50, and this is a whole nother ball game. But maybe give us some thoughts about why you Let Me In.
Yeah, I see your point. Like the 4 seconds, they're starting to pile up a little bit, but I do want to give him one more chance to get the job done here. You mentioned the class drop from the state bred optional 50 down to the state bred optional 20, which is significant in that he's facing slightly lesser horses. But also as a 2-year-old, he was kind of just figuring things out, and he's come along as a 3-year-old and he's improved those speed figures. And it looks like he's starting to put it all together. He's just got to kind of meet his friends. And I think that this is the situation where he does so. You mentioned that it's kind of hard to see him not sit a good trip. And with Kazushi Kimura in the saddle, I completely agree. I think he's just going to sit a nice outside stalking trip. And if the pace setters come back to him a little bit, I think he'll get that kind of proverbial first run. So that's kind of what I'm looking for Let Me In, but I couldn't pick him on top just because those seconds to me are racking up a little bit.
He's going to be the favorite, right?
I think so.
I feel like he's going to be favored. He's got the best numbers. He's got Glatt. It's Kimura. Kind of drawn
class drop too.
He always takes money. I mean, he's taking money. So feels like he's underwater.
Yeah.
Hey, let us know how that Titanic is, brother.
Hey, you got Titanic Thompson just to the outside of this favorite.
Can I just make one quick point based on something that Jackson said?
Yeah.
I wasn't necessarily worried about the 1 because of how the track might play, because obviously we don't know, right? I was more concerned about the way he made a mess of the break last time, breaking from the 1. So it's all about getting a clean break from him. And if if the course profile is not in his favor, there's nothing I can do about that. It's just I wanted to raise that because I think it's an important point that you make, Jackson. You don't want to put yourself in a box before the meet's even begun, right? You don't want to come in with any kind of preconceptions until you see something. And I agree with you. Last year, I thought the track was overall pretty fair, and Inside did much better in years past. Hopefully, we'll see a fair track again. But my concern was this horse just getting out of the gate. But I think with that, because he was coming off a layoff, maybe he wasn't ready. Now this time he might be. So anyway, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna underwater.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna throw it back to you, Scuba Diver, because you've got the 5. Minister Shane, who's off of talk about layoffs. He's off quite a layoff. I believe that's about 1.5 years, maybe not quite that long. But Jackson back in his prime, he's got numbers that maybe not smoke this field, but they do very, very well.
Am I underwater still, or are we?
No, you're good.
5.
Yeah, he's one of those horses where if he's favored, I don't want any part of him. But if he's going to drive up 5, 6, 7 to 1, like you said, he's got all the back class in the world. He's got plenty of races on there that are faster than what everyone else has done to this point. The concern is he doesn't really win. He lost as a favorite multiple times. But again, if if he's going to be a price, I think I'm willing to overlook those sort of things and hope that he gets back to that good form. So it's all about the price on this horse, and I have no idea how they're going to bet him, to be honest.
Yeah, Frank, you got any thoughts on him or final thoughts on the?
Yeah, I looked really long and hard at Minister Shane because, you know, the horse is 7 years old. Could just retire the horse, you know, make the horse a nice little pet, whatever. Obviously, the horse still has some fight in him and wants to run. So I know a lot of people might see that as a negative. I talk about this all the time with a first-time starter who's 5 years old. If you're waiting that long and you're that patient to bring a horse back, you know, at a certain age, you must think something of the horse, right? So I thought Minister Shane had a chance. I know we talked about how, you know, the layoff isn't so much of a detriment as it's been in years past, but I think in a sprint race when you have to be super fast and you have to be in it, I think it's a little bit of a problem. Yeah. Carla Gaines is typically pretty patient. It wouldn't shock me if this was sort of a prep run and then maybe run the horse for 20 next time or whatever, something like that. But yeah, I mean, he has races on his form that would absolutely be competitive in here and could certainly win.
Yeah, for sure. We'll move on to the last race. I'm going 8-2-4. Jackson's going 2-1-5. Ryan's going 7-8-4. And Frank is going 4-1-8. The last race on the card on opening day at Del Mar. I'll get it up on the screen real quick. And that's what we want. Race 10, maiden special weight, $80,000 purse. We've got 3- and 4-year-old fillies going a mile on the turf course. And another race that I thought was pretty wide open. We've got 12 horses in the body of the field, and then 2 Carla Gaines runners, the 13 and the 14, round out the also eligibles. Morning line favorite. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that it's the number 6 Lady Chic for Rispoli and Sadler. And then other than that, I honestly would have no idea. There are the picks on the bottom of the screen. I'm going 8-4-6. Jackson's going 6-7-8. Ryan's going 6-3-11. And Frank is going 5-3-4. Frank, I'm going to let you finish it off in this Cinco fashion. You got 4 Arrogate for Cheminade. I'm not the best at pronouncing that. Jonathan Thomas, we've seen him have some success. I'm sorry about that. We've seen him have success at Santa Anita. He's done quite fine at Del Mar as well. What do you like about the 5?
Yeah, I don't know how you pronounce Cheminade, but I pronounce it Victory. I think this horse is a huge shot. Again, 4-year-old filly, lightly raced 4-year-old filly against a bunch of 3-year-olds. What you mentioned, Noah, Thomas and Cheminade have done very, very well here at Del Mar. I think last fall they won, like 3 of 6 races together or something like that. Like they team up, they do well. I'm so glad to see that Jonathan Thomas is going to have some horses out here on the regular because I think he's an absolutely terrific trainer. He knows how to condition a horse based on his steeplechase background. And I think this horse was just out for a run last time. That Monmouth race back in July of last year was good enough to win. The horse lost by a nose. Granted, it was at Monmouth, but I don't mind that because now the horse has been freshened up, has matured. Here's an angle that a lot of people don't pay attention to that I absolutely love. Second blinkers, especially with a turf horse. He put the blinkers on this horse last time. The horse, I thought, ran really well, came home in a strong time despite not having any pace to close into. I know a couple of these beat the horse, but I'm expecting a big, big step forward today. Like I said, second blinkers, second off the bench. Horse has respectable closing times, and this training combination is absolutely lethal. So I really contemplated maybe even just singling this horse in my pick 5 because this is what we call a separator horse, right? Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people are going to have this horse on their ticket, and they're certainly not going to have the horse singled. So I thought that was maybe a clever way to play it. I haven't constructed my tickets yet. Obviously, I'll wait till I get closer. But she's a very, very interesting contender for me, and if she wins, my day is going to go very well.
Yeah, and
again, a 5 horse.
Yeah, exactly. I know we've kind of talked about whether we think races are live or whether races maybe aren't so live. I would not be shocked at all if a winner came from that race. You have Auntie, Miss Artois. I think the 4 might have actually finished in front of 4 Arrogate, Church Lady, who was actually the favorite that day, and then your horse that you talked about for Airgate was 5th. I would not. I think just to maybe be safe, if we're rounding out at pick 5, either go with the 5 or you just go with a bunch. I mean, if one of those 4 win, I certainly would not be surprised at all. Let's go to the 6, who is just a her outside, Lady Chic. Yes, it's Chic. I know that off the top of my head. It's not Chick. These 2 clowns below me have this horse on top. And I guess I probably shouldn't call them clowns because I like this horse a little bit too. But let's go to my shaven brother, Ryan, to talk about this one first.
All right.
Everything for Delmar, huh?
I know that was you unloaded on that one, but all right. Lady Chic, Jackson, I feel like we share similar opinions here. This looks to be, clearly the fastest horse in the race. Also, just looks loose here, stretching out. I know it's hard to wire at Delmar, but I envision Rispoli just kind of getting out of there, with any speed whatsoever that this horse seems to have naturally, at least judging by that last time out on the turf. Just gets out to the lead and should just take them around there. Again, it is very hard to wire them on the Delmar turf course with those tight turns, but I think Lady Chic, I think Rispoli and Sadler, obviously Sadler, one of those trainers who also points for Delmar. He's unveiled some really talented runners. This one cost $500,000. I think this one's second time trying the turf, second start off the bench to start this one's 3-year-old season. I'm looking for a big effort here. The 4th place finisher in this one's last race, She's the Law, just won at Ellis. That was going 5.5, so I don't know how much weight you want to put into that off a trainer switch from Mark Glatt, but has come in here working really well. This is a strong A play for me.
Jackson, anything to add?
Well, I think you do want to put a lot of weight into what the horse came back to do because her last race was a sprint. So the horse came back in another pure sprint and ran and won and improved 10 points yesterday. So I think that's a very, a positive for Lady Chic. Chic?
Chic. Yeah.
I want to make sure I say it right now. Yeah.
Lady Chic.
I'd say that's a feather in her cap for sure. That horse come out to do well in that race. She's obviously very tough. I don't think she needs to lead necessarily. She rated last time just off of it. She closed on the dirt in her debut when she hated all the kickbacks. She still passed a few horses in that race. And, if they want the lead, they can get it. But Umberto is the king of just sitting in the pocket at Delmar and tipping out, and he does it time and time again. He'll probably do it 50 times as meet, and it works more often than not. So I think, she's supposed to run long, and she's supposed to get a good trip, and she's the one to beat. Nothing too clever in here.
Well, the horse that came back and won at Ellis, I think, was maybe like over 20, but I guess I understand your point. Jackson, what do you think? What do you think odds-wise that you get on this horse?
It depends what they do with the 2, because the 2 is overbet every single time she runs, and she's finally in a race that has another, like, it seems like that she has a formidable rival in Lady Chic in this race, but Nafisa's odds on 8-5 every single time, and she keeps losing. So if they continue to bet her like that, you might actually get a decent price on this 6 horse.
I think that 81 buyer is going to knock her price down a lot.
Agreed.
But yeah, she is a major contender, absolutely.
Yeah, Frank, I want to go back to you because you've got a horse in second that's actually coming out of the same race and certainly should be a much bigger price, and that's Unbinding for Glatt. David Cohen, who I don't think he's been over for the summer. I know he's been over for a couple weeks.
Yeah, he's ridden out here a little bit, but it's been a long time. Yeah.
I was like 5. I remember watching him.
Yeah, he came out one summer. Yeah, we were talking. I was going to say like maybe 12, 15 years ago, maybe less, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah, Jackson's pretty old these days, so if he was 5, it could have been
2004 my guess. 2004 is my guess. So I would have been 4. Someone look it up.
I'm gonna go 2008. I'm gonna go.
And somebody in the chat.
Yeah, I didn't know he was still riding. To be honest with you, I hadn't seen his name in a very, very long time. But he was always a capable jockey. I had no knocks on him. I respect Mark Glatt for giving him a shot out here. I think this horse is very interesting. Ran a decent race in her U.S. debut. She was off slow. She did not get the best rides. It was not an optimum trip at all, as far as I'm concerned. Glatt is so good with his stretch out runners, and this ownership, Rancho Temescal and what's the Old English Rancho, whatever, the two farms who team up, do so well with their European imports. This horse ran really well in debut over at Linkfield. They have a good eye for bringing over imports who can take to the Delmar turf course. So yeah, I think this horse will probably be, if if Lady Chic is 8-5 maybe in here, I mean, this horse will probably be 12-1, and I think she's got. I think Lady Chic is probably a better horse, but I think at the prices, I think Unbinding has a huge shot in here.
Yeah, I do too. And obviously, Ryan, you think so as well. I think the one thing that I found very interesting was kind of almost ran her right off the plane. I mean, they worked really quickly June 1st and then came back and ran June 8th, but now they've kind of got a foundation of works. Ryan, I wouldn't be surprised if she shows a much better effort in the finale.
Yeah, same here. I expect improvement second time in the U.S. Something that I think is kind of unique with the way Rancho Temescal and their partners do with those European imports is it's more unusual to see those long layoff lines when they bring them over. A lot of times they do bring them over and, within a couple months they're running them. Right. Whereas, a lot of the ones that go to Phil D'Amato and some others, Sadler, you'll see them take, 6-7 months before they get that one, readjusted, but they seem to bring them over with a purpose. They have that target date in mind. Frank pointed out a great point that they really have an eye for this meet specifically and what Euros they kind of want to bring over. So no, I like Unbinding. I thought that she had a couple of excuses in her last start. She's going to have to get way better, but she's bred to love this distance and the turf course. Obviously the breeding suits perfectly. Mark Glatt, excellent trainer. So interested to see how David Cohen, rides in one of his first mounts back at Del Mar. I tried to do a quick Google search and could not find the last time he was out here. Maybe it was even pre-Google. But I think Unbinding does.
You're making me feel really, really old, Ryan. Really old.
I found it. Sorry, you started here in 2004 and you left in 2007.
All right, there we go.
Wait, what was it? Say it again.
You started and you left in 2007.
2007. Okay. I said 2008.
He started in 2004 is what he said before he went and visited the Titanic again.
So we were both kind of right. You said 2005, I said 2008. So yeah, right in that zone right there.
Hey, deep diver, you ready? You're gonna talk about the 7 ribbons. Is that all right? No, he's not ready. We're gonna continue with the aid because I can't hear anything Jackson's saying, but he's actually also got this one in the mix.
He's also muted right now.
Oh, is he really? I think he's going back and forth. I don't.
How about now?
Oh yeah.
You want to talk
about?
Like
you're online in a drive-through or something. I'm like waiting for someone to take your order.
I wish. I'm starting. Ribbons, real quick before I go underwater again. Ran well at Gulfstream. It was way better, not a better field. That was a decent field though. The horse Minty is a decent horse for Cassie. Texas Holiday came back and won about 10 lengths at Woodbine the other day. So it seemed like a good group. She was wide the whole way. It was a slow pace. I thought she actually ran okay in that spot. And I don't know if this race is necessarily all that much tougher. She has a right to take a step forward. She's going to be a big price. I don't know if the jockey is either, but I imagine all those factors. Maiden claiming race, no name jockey, like she's going to be like 15.1 in this race. And I think there are things to like about her. She should be coming from off the pace.
Frank, do you have any idea who this jockey is? Because I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah, Mirko DeMoro is an Italian jockey. He rides overseas, and he's actually very good. He's sort of older now in his career, but I mean, I would not discount him at all. I had heard that he was going to come summer over here. I guess his fellow Italians, Rispoli and Fresu, were like, "Hey, man, come to Del Mar for the summer." But no, he's good, and he's won some big races overseas. So yeah, catch him early if he's on some live horses.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
I take back my no-name jockey. I apologize to DeMar. I didn't realize. My bad.
Yeah, we need a written apology from.
He's not a familiar name, but I mean, neither was Fresu when he came over here, and in the sense for us in California and us in San Diego, Del Mar, when we're looking at races, Fresu wasn't a common name that we saw a whole lot of, and now look at him, he's one of the kind of top class riders out here, easily, one of the top 3 or 4 every meet. So DeMuro could absolutely be that. I'm curious to see. Maybe it might take some adjusting to kind of get used to the bends and whatnot, but I do think that he could certainly have some success.
Yeah, last horse we'll touch on because we're going at about an hour and 15. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in. Of course, we've had a lot of great comments in the live chat, so keep putting them in there, and I'll keep bringing them up. American Privilege I've got on top, who ran in a 5 furlong race in November, was actually bet pretty heavy considering Sheriff's doesn't really, his his repertoire is not to crank first time out. And I thought this filly ran respectable. She's been off for a while. She's kind of bred to go a little bit longer. I think the question for me would be obviously price. Hector hops aboard, which is, I think, a big plus. And just whether she's going to be ready off the layoff. Hopefully she's ready to go. We'll go ahead and move to our best bets as I get this off the screen. Let me go ahead and do that real quick. And then
real quick.
Sorry, can I interrupt real quickly?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I think American Privilege is probably the classiest horse in the race. I mean, half to more than Looks, who won the Breeders' Cup Mile. I'm so excited to watch this horse run because I think she is going to be awesome. The reason I didn't have her in my mix is because I thought maybe Cheris might give her one because he's so patient. But I am with you. That debut race was incredible for a big CRK. CRK stables, the big long striding horses. That's their type. Horse had no business finishing third in that race. So I'm going to keep an eye out for her. And just real quickly back to Mirko DeMuro. He won a little race called the Dubai World Cup. So he's not bad.
That's what he's doing.
Pretty solid.
I remember there was a lot of buzz about that filly last November. I remember her. Like they said she's going to go way longer. She's going to be really good. And
we were all like, why is it John Cheris first or sprinting on turf going off at 5-2?
He won the last race of opening day last year on a 40-1 shot off a layoff horse going 2 turns. So he can do it.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's a nice horse.
Yeah. Moving on to best bets. I'm actually going to have you go last, Frank. I'm going to start with Ryan. He's going with a best bet in race 8. He's got a double. Race 8, he's going 7 with 7. Ryan, I'll let you have the floor. Maybe you can kind of tell us who those horses are and remind us about those.
Yeah, the 7 is I might have sent that wrong. That might have been 7-6. Anyway, the 7 in the first is Game Warrior for Peter Miller in the Oceanside Stakes, into the 7 in the 9th race, which is Let Me In, a horse that we talked about. Probably going to be your favorite. What'd you say? No,
that's Case Hit.
Oh, that is okay. Good. So I did send it in right. All right. I thought I was counting wrong. You know me in numbers. If you watch the Gallop Out at all, if we're ever doing these shows without any past performances, I'm struggling to count. But
it's a tough gig, man.
Yeah, I know. You've done great. No mistakes, I don't think. So, hats off to you, or hair off, as you and I should say. But either way, I'm going to go Game Warrior for Peter Miller. I think there's a decent amount of pace in the Oceanside Stakes. I know Ironman Cal is the clear horse to beat, but I do think that there's going to be a significant pace scenario in there, and that should set up for a horse from off the pace. This one gets blinkers on. Hector Berria should just try and tuck in, save all the ground he can. And then come home. So I can get Game Warrior there. I'm going for the Peter Miller double, as Case Hit is going to take me home in the next race. This one's coming back to start his 3-year-old season. I need a numbers improvement, but that bullet work at San Luis Rey coming in for a trainer and an ownership group that I know really point for the winner's circle at Del Mar. Umberto Rispoli takes the call for this one first off the bench. So I want to look for an improvement, and I want to go 7-7 double. It's not the $5 minimum. But it does start the $3 late pick 3 if you're interested in playing that. And I would go right into the 6 in that last race in Lady Chic.
It does. Good luck to you. Jackson, you're up next. You're also going with the double, and I believe that's the same race. You're going double 5 into the 3. And again, please remind us the names of those horses.
Yeah, well, the big push is going to be Ironman Cal, obviously in race 8. I'm just a little concerned he'll be a little too short to play to win. So I'm going to try to extract a little more value out of it. And I'm going to go with Drew Liner in the 2-year-old race, the race before. I just think she's sitting on a big one. I think she'll be a lot quicker out of the gate than she was on debut based on what I've seen in the mornings. And I just felt like it was a 2-horse race between her and the Miotti horse. And I think she'll be a better price. So I'm going to try to get a bit of an inflated win price on that one, as I always do, and hit that double. Go ahead.
Can we have our first $1 bet of the meet? I would like the 3 final table lady and over your 5 drumliner.
Yeah, please.
Cool.
Thanks.
Cool.
Frank, you see the stuff I deal with on this show?
Oh, yeah. I love it.
I'm one for my last one in these $1 bets, so I'll take it.
I want them to up the stakes. Let's go. Come on. Put your money where your mouth is, guys.
It's really just bragging rights. The money means nothing. It's just being right against this guy.
For opening day, Del Margarita.
Okay,
please.
Del Margarita. I'll do that. I can't drink on the job, so wait until after the last race.
Well, good thing you're not going to win. Well, I can.
My best bet is an exact on race 8. If Ironman Cal is as much of a sure thing as Jackson says he is. I mean, why not try to go with the big price underneath? And I'm hoping that price is Kale's Angel. Got some really big numbers on the page. I think getting back to the turf, hasn't been on the turf in a while. And I feel like if you're going to get a price on him, you're going to get it now. And it's going to be a huge price because I think there are, some decent players in there, maybe a little skeptical, maybe in my opinion. So I'm going to try to get some value out of that race and go with him in second. So hopefully he can get the job done for me on Friday. And then, of course, finishing things off with Frank's best bet. It's only in typical fashion that he goes with a 5, right? I mean, come on, Frank. Going with a win bet on the 10 for irrigate a little bit.
Yeah, I viewed this more as trying to find a separator horse because we were talking about the sequence.
Yeah.
I just feel like, don't get me wrong, we talked about a bunch of different horses in the nightcap, and I think they all have merit and they all could certainly win. But I feel like in races like that, I like to be a little contrarian and try to find just one horse and plant my flag with that horse who's going to be really good value. And that's what I thought about this horse. Obviously, win bet, probably on top of exactas with some of the few we mentioned, on bottom exactas, some of the few we mentioned. Certainly look at doubles with the GM and no more ding-dongs in the previous race. The beauty of the double is you can chart your pays and see if it's worth playing with your probables. But, like I said, when I was looking at the sequence holistically, because all of the races were super competitive, in my opinion, except for maybe the 1-5 Ironman Cal shot.
Easy.
Yeah, I wanted to find that value horse who could really make someone's day, So that's kind of why I landed on that. But yeah, I mean, look at all the different horses we talked about. How great is this sequence? How great is this opening day card? It's going to be incredible.
Oh, it's a fantastic sequence. I know all three of us, or all four of us, for that matter, are looking forward to it. We've got our drinks. Looks like either Jackson or Ryan's going to be having a Del Margarita after the finale on Friday. Maybe Frank will join you guys in partaking in that.
Oh yeah, I'll bet that Ironman Cal is not 1-5.
That's the side.
What do you guys think it'll be?
I said 6-5.
3-5, 4-5.
I say 3-5.
Everyone thinks odds on. Okay, all right.
I have a question for everybody because I think we're all differing opinions. Who's going to be the leading jockey at the end of the Del Mar Summer Meet?
Ooh.
Well,
Jackson, you better stick to your guns on this one because you had one from months ago.
The only thing I'm worried about is will he get the number of rides that he needs to compete with the JJs? Because I'm talking about Kimura. I think Kimura's really good. He's going to break out. He's had the year where he was here last year. He has more exposure to all the trainers. I'm just worried about, kind of like Pratt, I'm worried about is he going to get the volume he needs to compete with the Hernandezes and Chris Blaze of the world.
Yeah.
Right. How about this? Do you think Ayuso will finish in the top 5?
No.
I think he's going to outfinish Kimura. I know I've got money on that.
Okay, nice.
How much? Put a lot more than $1 on that.
Yeah. We'll figure it out at the show. We're going on almost an hour and 25 minutes. So Frank, it's been a pleasure as always. You are more than welcome to be invited back on. I'm sure we'll get you on at least one more time before
I hope so.
The summer is over. And take care, my friend.
And I hope to see you guys at the track.
You will.
Thank you. Thanks for everything.
For Jackson Muniz, Ryan Anderson, this has been your host, Noah Maher, in episode 37 of Pacific Horseplayers, covering the late pick 5 on Del Mar opening day. And of course, to wrap things up, PHP out.